This is going to be a good episode. All right. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the latest installment of Ali, episode 8. The question of today is a fairly somber one, I would say. And it is, why do we get depressed? This is going to be tough to answer. I actually had people go ahead and write their answers in the Discord so I can read them out loud and sort of give a response to them because, I feel like I should give a chance to people that aren't able to make it onto the show. So I feel like this is a really good opportunity for anybody that's ever wanted to answer a question and has not been physically able to be here. This is kind of like one of those things where they did back in the day where they'd write in and then the guy would talk about it and like read them out and stuff like that. So, we're kind of going old school with this one. But I'm going to start with myself. I'm going to start with my personal answer for this question. And then I'm going to read off what I got here. And then, as usual, I'm going to open up to anybody that wants to answer in the voice chat on Discord. So, why do we get depressed? I wanted to give a smart alecky ass response and just say that it was due to chemicals being released in your brain that caused you to obviously become depressed. But I guess I could get a little bit more close to home with this answer. I don't know if people will agree with me on this subject or on this viewpoint, but I feel like, contrary to popular belief, depression is actually one of those things that could be very, very important and pivotal in somebody's life. And I say this because, speaking from my own personal experience here and from experience of people that I've talked to that have been through the same thing, you'll find that a lot of people who've had a very, depressing background or a history with depression, and when they were able to overcome that eventually, it was almost a defining characteristic of what caused them to have a really important change in their life. And for me personally, when I was in college, I would say that was probably the most depressed that I've ever been in my entire life. I couldn't tell you why, and I couldn't tell you when it happened, but when I was in college, basically what happened to me was I suddenly started to become overwhelmed with feelings of doubt, frustration, anger, sadness, and loneliness especially. And I couldn't really describe why. And, it was really easy to believe that there was something extremely wrong with me and that there was something that I must do that had to be fixed. It's one of those things that becomes really easy to spiral into. And I don't know how to describe it, yo. It's like, I would describe it as being inside of a dark pit and you have no idea where your orientation is. It's almost like you're in zero gravity in complete darkness. Imagine yourself in outer space with just a spacesuit on and you're floating. That's probably how I would describe being depressed for an extended period of time. And you're just hoping and you're praying that there is a spaceship or some kind of distress signal that you can put out there into the void that somebody will answer one day. But I will say this. I can't tell you exactly why I think it happened, but I will tell you what happened as a result. I had really two options when I was trying to overcome this. One, I could let it control me and I could basically let it determine what happens with the rest of my life, whether it was extended misery or very short misery, if you get what I'm saying. And that was that. Or my other option was to just find a fucking way. That was the only thing I could come up with. I literally did all the research that I could. I searched. I tried to discover why I was feeling this way. I even ended up taking meds at some point. But, you know, at the core of it, I sort of knew that I wasn't really helping myself. And I kind of knew that. So I decided to go with the latter option. The one where I decided to get my shit together, basically, to just do my best. It's nothing crazier than that. It's literally just me having to make the hard and conscious and oftentimes really daunting decision to day by day overcome just a little bit more and do a little bit better than the day before. And that's actually where the term defeat yourself came from. Oddly enough, one of the phrases that I use throughout basically every day of my life, and that you guys remember most about when it comes to me and my character, is something that came from probably the darkest era of my life. And yeah, that's it, honestly. And when I look back on it, in retrospect, it was extremely difficult and hard, and I doubted a lot. And it came with, you know, the territory of anxiety as well. And somehow I find myself here, you know, talking to you guys about this subject right now, telling you guys stuff that I actually haven't really talked to much of anybody about, at least not in public, right? And it's just odd because I would have never thought that my life would be like this when I was going through that. In fact, I thought it would just end up being worse. But somehow it got better. And I think a lot of it had to do with the mindset that I knew that I wanted to be in, and consistently and constantly working towards it every single day. Obviously, it wasn't perfect. Nothing is. Shout out to that one episode. But it definitely taught me a thing or two about the power of the mind. And it showed me that we have a lot more power than what we give ourselves credit for. A lot more power. And I never really fully grasped that until I had to struggle with my own demons. And yeah, that's it. So, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and read off the answers that I have in this Discord right now. I think I have one here from Mad Muzz, and he said this: so I'm working tomorrow. I won't be on the show, but I wanted to voice my opinion of the question. Now, this subject interests me because I've dealt with it, and I still do at some points. So why do we get depressed? We get depressed because we hang on to negative things that have happened to us, whether it be a short or a long-term thought. We condition ourselves to be in fear of something bad happening because it's happened before, and now we just expect it, as it becomes comfortable for us to be in a constant cycle of depression. But we also allow ourselves to be caught up in a negative situation that if we only let go of it straight away, it wouldn't be a problem. But instead, we grab onto it and allow it to manifest into a growth, let's say a virus, in our minds, and wouldn't care if it grows over time, and it grows more and more, eventually taking a huge effect on your life. We allow it to change who we are. We have this negative event happen, and by grabbing onto it after a year or so of just holding onto it, it becomes part of our lives, and that's where we start to fear something like it happening again. So we tell ourselves to be fearful of it happening again, and fearing something that might not even come will make us depressed because we can't get past that fear. And then he put in quotations, depression is holding on to the negative. And negative things happen to serve as a lesson for us. I gotta say, that was actually really well thought out. And the sentiment that it's based in fear of the future, fear of what might happen, fear of what happened in the past happening again, that was completely me. That was completely me. And it was one of the things that I definitely had to come to terms with, because I knew the only way that I would see any kind of results is if I made that effort on my own. And yeah. Now we're going to go ahead to Shepherd Free, who says this. To add to that, from my own experience these last few years, sometimes it is a series of bad things. My situation has been work and money. Going out and putting myself out and applying, and every lead fell through or just hear nothing back at all. After a few years of that, it makes getting up and getting back on the horse a little harder with every fall. You end up in this pit and you want to climb out, but you're so deep in it that it feels hopeless. Which is really interesting, because that's exactly how I described it earlier, as a sort of pit, a void, just this dark space that's without form. I do agree with you, and that is one of those things where it's really hard to see, I guess, the silver lining, because you can barely see your hand out in front of you. It's so dark. But if I did have some words for you right now, Shepard, I would tell you that honestly, man, I really hope you keep fighting the good fight. I want you to. And I want you to know that you have my support, and I believe in you. I honestly do. I believe in every single one of you guys, in fact, just so you guys know. Like, my entire philosophy, because of what I have experienced and what I've sort of gathered through learning about different kind of philosophies and like even like just human behavior in general, I've learned that one of the best things that we can do is just keep going and keep moving. Once you're at the bottom, you can only go up from there. I don't want to sound like a cliche, but you know, it's true nonetheless. So Shepard, my word to you is keep going, man. Like, I know that sounds like not very helpful, but that's probably the most helpful thing that I can say. And it's the most helpful thing that you can do. Because if not, what are the alternatives, you know? So yeah, that's that. Thank you guys for answering, by the way. I appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and go into the Discord so we can open it up for anybody that wants to talk verbally. And I believe right now the first in line is going to be Goon. So we're going to go ahead and hop into there. I'm going to say what's good to my boy Goon. And here we go. What is up, Goon? You are on episode 8 of AI Leave. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good myself. How are you?
Man, I'm booling, man. We're just out here talking about depression, you know, same old, same old.
Yeah, I hear you. And first off, I just wanna, say how much I appreciate, you talking about this subject, because I know it's a touchy subject, depression, mental illness. Not a lot of people talk about it, and I think that mental illness actually needs to be talked about a lot more, because a lot of people don't really realize how much,
how much it affects
impact your your mental state and stuff. So
by the way, I'm starting your timer, by the way, just so you know. Just so you know.
Yeah. So I mean, why we get depression? That's kind of a question that I can't really answer, because there's so many factors that really go into it. But I mean, I could give you my experience, and what I went through. So when I was little, I mean when I was born, I should say, I grew up in a majority white town, I am African American for people that do not know me.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in a majority white town. My mother was white. My dad is black. Um, my dad would work a lot, so he wasn't usually home. So I would usually be, with my mom. Around the fifth grade, I met one of my first friends, actually my only friend that I really talked to, uh, up until high school. And considering that I was in a majority white town, all the people that I talked to, my teachers, kids that would bully me in school and whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
always told me you can't, you won't be able to. So
Mm-hmm.
eventually, after years and years of them telling me you can't, you won't, I eventually started to believe it,
Of course.
because it's just like, should I do this? Nah, no. What are you thinking? What do you think? Like, it's so mentally, it just got I'm just like, all right, I might as well not even try.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the only people that really kept me grounded was, my mother, my father sometimes when he was home, and the one friend I had. But eventually, that one friend I had eventually moved upstate. I live in New York, so he moved upstate.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom eventually started working more. So I eventually became a shut-in. Didn't really talk to anyone, and I would go home, go to school, come right home. I mean, yeah, if people are telling me I can't do it, like I said, you'll eventually believe yourself.
Of
So
course.
everything that I would everything that I would strive to at least give a chance to, if I found a little bit of difficulty in it, I would think, you know what, they're right. They're right. I'm not gonna be able to do this. I might go to the next one, on to the next one. So eventually it just started building up, and felt a sense of uselessness,
Of
just
course.
a sense of what what's the purpose, Is there a purpose? Is that because everybody else seems to be saying, you know, God put you on this earth for a reason. God put you on this earth for a reason. And when you're trying to find the reason, and everybody else is like bringing you down, telling you, you have no purpose, you have no reason. So it just gets to you, and eventually some people just break down hard enough.
Yeah.
They just have enough. But from my experience, just meeting the right people, talking to the right people, definitely getting your mind straight. Because if you can have that sense of support, you could definitely crawl out of whatever hole you get thrown into. Um, like I said, I know I didn't really answer the
Oh
question of
no, you're good.
why do we get depressed. I can only give my experience of it, but you know, just finding the right people
I actually think
could definitely help you out throughout that.
I was just gonna say I think the fact that it is your experience makes it completely valid. You know what I mean? Because it's not like
Mm-hmm.
we're here talking about like objective like statistics or something, right? Like we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about why why people get depressed. And there's always going to be a myriad of reasons, when it's always going to be different for everybody, but there's a real like common like concept behind it where a lot of it has to do with your surroundings, especially your
Mm-hmm.
surroundings. That's why it's like I sort of just realized recently how important it is to be around the right people, because
Exactly.
when you're around negative energy, you become that too. Like you can't change
Yeah.
that. It's something that is
Your
just
mind is a
it
sponge.
is. It is. That's its job. It absorbs the outside world. That's what it's supposed to do. And it's always done that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why it's like super important to be careful of that kind of thing, man. Like, oh, I wish I knew this stuff when I was younger, but I feel like it's oh, shit. It's one of those things where like you don't learn it until you actually go through it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But my bad. I started talking and I took up your time. Did you have anything that you wanted to
Not,
add?
nah. That's pretty much it. I just kind of wanted to talk about my experience,
Mm,
and let everybody know that maybe going through depression is just find the right people, definitely find somebody to talk to,
Absolutely.
because as much as things seem gray is just a shade. There's always color
Mhm.
somewhere. It's just you got to get rid of that shit. And I'm not an artist. I'm
Stupid.
but yeah, just find the light. Find the light. There's always light.
Find the light. I like it.
All
All
right.
right, clean man. Thank you for coming on, dog. I appreciate you, man.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
No problem, baby girl. I'll talk to you later, man.
I'll see you
All
later.
right, deuces.
Peace.
Yeah, Goon is absolutely right. It's extremely important to talk about these things. In fact, I think the biggest reason why it's important isn't necessarily so you can get good advice, but I feel like talking to other people, the reason why it's important is because it offers you perspective. And that's probably the most valuable thing that you can have in life is multiple perspectives. Because if you're only seeing things one way, it becomes extremely hard to adapt to new situations. So that's why I say, like, talk to people. Even if you don't agree with them, listen. Listen to what they have to say because you actually might learn something. Actually, no, screw that. You're going to learn something because everybody has something to teach, whether they know it or not. So yeah, we're gonna go on to Colunis. Colnus. I'm gonna ask how to pronounce the name, but we're gonna bring Colnus in. I think that's how you say it. Yo, Colnus, is that how you say it?
Coolness.
Coolness. All right, my bad, man. You have a super dope voice, by the way. This man came in like, "Hey, what's up, you guys?"
Yo, what's
Oh my gosh, you must be a radio personality.
Yeah, and I have a face made for radio, but that's about as far as it goes, man.
Dang. Okay. Yo, I just want to have a tape where I listen to him talk. But all right, sorry. But yeah, man, you ready to talk? You got your things together? You good?
Yeah, man, absolutely. So,
All right, here we go.
Why do we get depressed, man? It's a really difficult question to answer from an introspective point of view because you're trying to fight the way out of it. And when I was going through depression, one of the things that I found made it the most easy was to look at it from a scientific perspective.
I was actually going to talk about that, but I decided not to because I don't know too much about it.
Yeah, and I didn't know too much either. I'd looked some stuff up on Wikipedia and a few other things, but I'm like, there's got to be a reason, like an evolutionary reason why we get depressed, because we're not the only social animals that share depression. Elephants, for example,
absolutely
share depression.
They mourn.
Yeah, so yeah, absolutely. The death in their herd, they will mourn that and they will be depressed. Depression is a social signal. One of the things that was touched on by Goose, I can't remember his name. Who was the guy that you just had on prior?
Oh, that was Goon.
Goon, yeah, my bad.
That's all good.
He was touching on things about social interactions determining feelings, and that is very much a social signal. I had thought about when we depress, we get more reclusive. So maybe it's because the situation that we're dealing with is very exhausting. And from a social hierarchy perspective, especially much earlier on, you had your leaders and your followers. And if you were trying to go for that leadership position, it was becoming so exhausting, you became depressed about it. It might have been a mental signal for you to say, hey, maybe this isn't for me. I need to back down because this person might be more enduring for a leadership position.
Ooh,
right?
Okay. I haven't thought about it like that. That's actually pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go back to roots, about humanity, about, animals, because we are, at the end of the day, social animals. There was, again, so as a social signal, to let others know that there is something wrong. Now, elephants, it's pretty easy for them to exhibit depression. We see that, scientists might see that, but we as humans, we mask it, right? Some of the most depressed people that we've known globally, like Robin Williams,
Yeah.
nothing seemed wrong
You
with
would have
him
never known.
most of the time. Yeah, exactly. So we've kind of evolved on top of that a little bit, but it's still a signal to others. Goon was talking about saying how other people were saying, you can't do this, you can't do this. Depression might be also a trigger for you to reclude yourself and say, you know what, screw them. I definitely can do this, because that social signal might give you the space with which to overcome those particular issues.
It's like when you're working out and your muscles are very sore, but that's literally it just becoming stronger. I see. So do you think depression plays a vital role in evolution in general?
Yeah, I think so. It can be in some cases, because again, we work in groups, we have friends, we have social circles. I think it is a social mechanism to help regulate the health of the entire social group. But we've gone away from that a bit, so it becomes a little bit more difficult to tackle. And as I said, a lot of people have struggled with it. Hell, even so, everybody knows me as a Viking in real life.
Word?
Yeah, like I've got beard rings in my beard right now.
That's
like besides
epic.
my head are shaved, like full on Viking. Odin in the old texts struggled with depression.
I didn't know gods
Here
had
you have
depression.
Yeah, here's this guy who's a warrior, a poet. He knows a ton of stuff, but he had suffered depression as well. One of the passages that he had was he had two ravens that flew alongside him, and he said, Hugin and Munin fly each day over the wide world. I fear for Hugin that he may not return to me, yet I fear more for Munin.
Wow.
What he's saying is that he's afraid.
Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
No worries, man. He's afraid of one bird not coming back because something might happen, but he's afraid of the other one returning to see him as he is.
Ooh. God damn. You know what's amazing? That people back then were woke as fuck. You know what I'm saying? like no funny shit. Like I was watching a lecture from Jordan Peterson when I mentioned this on the last episode, I think. He was talking about the Bible and the book of Genesis and stuff. And he was talking about how basically, you know how we tell stories in order to convey ideas, right?
Yeah.
Basically, he was explaining how basically the stories in the Bible were used to convey like the ideas of consciousness and what it means to be like good and evil and fundamentally like human stuff, you know, that we incorporate in our daily lives but we don't really think about, you know. And I was just like, damn, like that's actually really interesting because you see that everywhere. Everywhere. All these gods, they had human problems.
Yep.
Wow.
I think the last piece that I'll leave you with then, because you had mentioned that, is back then society was about overcoming things, and I think today's society, we teach people that they just have to be strong.
I vibe with that.
Awesome, man. Hey, I really appreciate the time, man, and I love your show.
Bro,
thank you so much, man.
Thank you, man. I might have to make you the new host because goddamn. That's gonna be a tough act to follow.
Talk like this next
time. Yeah, Mickey, let's do that.
All right, man. Hey, thanks.
All right, thanks for calling in, Coolness.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate it. God damn, man. Also, thank you for the follow, Jericho's. But yeah, that's an absolutely good point that he brought up. I'm loving the input and the answers that you guys are giving here. What I would like to do in the future when I have more knowledge and more confidence about like I guess a lot of like things to do with this stuff is I want to be able to approach things both scientifically and empathetically. And so, yeah, like man, I love answers like that. But yeah, with that being said, we're going to go ahead to the next person in line, Liquid Nine Tails. We're going to do Liquid. I just got a big message in Discord, and I'll probably end with that one. So we're gonna do Liquid, Apollo Cosmic, Big Time Aaliyah, and then I'll read the paragraph that I just got in Discord. Sorry, this protein shake, guys. I'm telling you. All right, Liquid Nine Tails is up next. Hello, Liquid. How are you doing? Welcome to episode 8 of the Ali Show. How are you doing?
Hi, how are you?
Man, I'm cool. We just talking about depression, you know? Doing our thing.
Oh yeah.
It's a great topic. Are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm ready.
All right, perfect. What you got for me?
Okay, so I feel like depression's very broad and there could be a lot of reasons why it happens. So I'm only gonna like talk about why I think it happens like with me. So I'm talking about my experience with it. So reason why I think we get depressed is because we're not where we want to be in life. Like we're not our ideal selves. Like everyone has this image of who they would like to be it physically, emotionally, or financially. And no one is ever like going to be perfectly aligned with their ideal self, because as a human you're always going to like want to strive for better and grow. So we always have this like ideal person that we're trying to reach that we're not there yet, and I feel like we usually get depressed about that. Like for example, if you don't have the body you want, or you see other people doing things like this person graduated at 21, or this person did this and that, and you're like, dang,
Definitely
they did
can
all
relate.
that and I'm not doing that yet,
Yeah.
and I'm already older than them, or I'm almost close to that age, or they're younger than me and they did that. So it's like, so we're painting this image of, dang, this could be what I could have did but I didn't, and then that's just adding to our depression because we're kind of beating ourselves up about what we're not doing, and when like we're beating ourselves up about the future and not focusing on the present. Really, we're just so caught up in what we want to do and what we want to be, or in the past, or what we didn't do or what we wish we did, instead of just being in the present
Yep.
moment. I feel like that would be a lot of reason why it happened to me. I've never really felt like I was in the present moment. I was always thinking about the future or thinking about the past. And so the comparison to other people, and then like comparison to my future self, that what I want to be, also that image, is a big reason why I would say we get depressed. Like we don't know how to find happiness, or at least for me, happiness amidst our current situation, happiness every day, happiness like every moment. We like look for happiness, and okay, I'll be happy in the future once I'm done with school and I get the job I want and I get the house I want and I get the person I want and blah blah. I'll be happy then, but I'm not happy now.
The happiness
Like
is
I don't.
conditional.
Yeah.
It's purely conditional, right? Damn. Sorry. Did you have anything more? Because I have a question. Though.
No, that was it.
Okay. So you brought up a really good point. Because yeah, I do realize that, at least when it comes to me, a lot of it was because of thoughts that were based almost exclusively in the past. And I think we find that a lot with most people that suffer from depression is the fact that it's like your past is literally knocking on your brain's door every single second of your life. And it's almost like you're stuck, you know? Kind of forever trapped in this really shitty moment that you kind of just relive over and over vicariously through whatever is happening in the moment, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like that's also can like lead to anxiety, because you're so focused on the past and you're just stuck in this rut, and you're like, dang, I need to do something to get out of this rut. I know I have homework to do. I know I have this to do, this to do. And then you don't do it and you get anxious because you're like, wow, I didn't do this. And then the depression comes back, and it's just this whole cycle of being stuck in the current moment, because you're thinking about either the past or the future, or not like what you should just know, what you can do at this moment. Like take it one moment at a time, 1 hour at a time. I mean, like you're usually just caught up in something else. And basically.
Okay. So like, is this like, did you come to this this like realization through observation or through like your own personal struggles? Like how did you come to understand this?
I would say personal struggles personally, because I was like, why do I always feel like this? Like, why is it so hard? It didn't make sense because I would look at other people and I'm like, wow, it seems like you guys just get up and you like, you just do it.
Mm-hmm.
You just do everything. And then for me, it feels like there's like a weight. I'm lugging around to do things. It's so hard. And I couldn't understand why, because there's nothing wrong with me. Like, I don't have anything that bad that happened to me or anything like that. Like, life is pretty good,
Mm-hmm.
but for some reason, I don't feel
Mm-hmm.
good. So I just was like stuck in thought trying to figure out. And it was, I'm constantly thinking about what I didn't do right, or, and not like what I didn't do right in the past. Or, so when I'm thinking about that, I'm like, dang, I need to do something now so I can be better in the future. But then I don't do it. And then it's just this constant cycle of, I need to do something so future me could be okay, but past me did this. And I'm
Mm.
never in the present moment.
You want to know what helped? I guess this is something that okay, I'll tell you why this helped me, or why I discovered that this would help me actually. So I was trying to figure out why I was feeling some kind of way all the time, you know, especially when it came to my anxiety. And so, being the person that I am, I'm always searching for information and for knowledge and for answers, really, right? So, what I ended up doing was, this is when I dove really deep, and I had already abandoned organized religion at this point. So I was like, okay, there has to be an answer somewhere, you know? So I looked in science. And although science is amazing and I learned a lot by just expanding my knowledge of things like quantum physics and like just how the world worked and how the fabric of time and space works, like it's amazing stuff. But as cool as it is, it still didn't give me any context for how I'm supposed to feel and what I'm supposed to do with my life, you know? And
Exactly.
so after that, I looked through philosophy. And philosophy, it was basically how I was able to find, I guess, my inner peace was through discovering a sort of combination between philosophy and science. But the biggest thing that helped me, I think, with living in the present moment was meditation. And that was sort of like the game changer. It was my gateway drug to understanding that you can be spiritual and not be religious, you know? It was when I understood what it meant to take part in your living human experience and understand that it's perfectly plausible scientifically as well to be a conscious living being, you know? And so
Yeah.
for anybody, this goes out to anybody, for anybody that wants to experience being in the present more, I'd say a good way to start is meditation. At least for a majority of people, this is why it's a practice that's been passed down for a very long time, you know? It works. It's one of those things that is indeed tried and true. But yeah, did you have anything that you wanted to say or add, or any last minute words for people in the chat?
No, I just really agree with what you just said, because I literally just went through that where I'm like, I don't really think I'm a religious person anymore, because there's just certain things that didn't make sense to me. And then the same thing with science. I'm just somewhere in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm spiritual but not religious is what I've kind of focused on.
Mm-hmm.
So that really helped a lot. So I'm gonna try meditation now.
I think I honestly I'm a like yo. I know this is gonna sound hella new agey and like really super Buddhist of me, but I'm a fan of the middle ground. I'm a fan of the middle path. Like
Yes, me too.
I'm not the kind of person that chooses sides like that, because I just realize that everybody has their perspective and that's it.
E- Exactly. I completely agree.
And yeah, I'm not gonna try and enforce change in somebody. The only thing that I can hope to do is give perspective,
Hmm.
and at least give a damn good one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's that's it. That's it. You know. Thank you for calling in.
Thank you, Ali.
Man, it's always a pleasure, Liquid Nine Tails. I'll catch you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, man. I know I say this word a lot, but perspective is one of those things that you gotta realize how important it is for your life, because you gotta realize that your entire life is consisting of a consistent perspective. Your perspective. I will only ever see things from my point of view, and you will only ever see things from your point of view. The only way that you can hope to change that or to grow from that is by seeing another one and another one and another one and another one. To me, to me, that's the definition of being omnipotent. Seeing from every perspective. So, yeah. And perspective might just be my next tattoo. I'll get it tattooed in Japanese. Just right here. No, I'll get it on my cheekbone, on my neck meat. Let me stop. All right, so next in line, we got Big Time Aaliyah and then Apollo Cosmic. I saw Glass Prince just came in, but I might have to cut it off after this. We'll see. But Big Time Aaliyah. What is good, Big Time Aaliyah? How are you doing? Welcome to the A Ali Show, episode 8. Why do we get depressed? How are you?
I'm feeling good.
All right, clean. You ready to speak your piece? It's your first time on the show. How you feel?
Yep. A little anxious, but like it's okay.
Ain't no need. We just two people having a conversation, girl. You know what I'm saying? All right, you ready?
Yes.
All right, what you got for me?
So, like with my experience with like depression, like I've just over the years, like I've just felt like I've just like been keeping it all inside instead of like talking to people. And then like with the start of college, with just like my family just like feuding with each other, and then like still getting bullied, and then my aunts and my friends like, it's like a lot to handle during these few years. And it's just like with people dying, and then like when we had to deal with like the bills and stuff, and I just haven't like I don't know what's the word, like how to handle it properly. And I just been feeling like anxious, and like I haven't felt like my happy self like I usually do back in the old days, and I miss that. And it sucks.
So, when you talk about the old days, what do you mean?
The old days is just like I just ignored like everything that was happening that was bad. I was ignoring like my parents fighting over like child support and stuff, and then like kids picking on me, and I was just like ignoring it. But then like over time, I couldn't do that anymore, because then like I had to pay attention more, and I kept paying attention to like more of my feelings, and then it just like build it up like around the time that I was at Fitchburg, and it just spread all over and just spilled out.
So how is it
at that time? And now like
No,
what?
sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go.
I was just gonna ask, so as of like right now, you know, like how are things currently for you?
Things, they're going like pretty slow, but like good. I'm just like not like talking to the people that I once spoke to, and I just pushed them out of my life and just like not speaking to them anymore, because like I thought they would be like my usual safe haven, but they're not anymore. And it's just like I'm trying to like pick up the pieces on my own.
So,
and it's just
sorry, go ahead.
No, it's okay because like I ramble a lot, and like sometimes I don't make sense.
No, like here, the thing is, I would rather you get out everything that you would want to get out, honestly, because that's the truth is that's when you can get the most truth, you know, is when you just speak, and when you allow yourself to feel what you feel and be as you are without judging yourself. That's why I'm not going to judge anybody that comes on here and speaks their truth, because who am I?
I try not to judge myself. Like you see me in like the Instagram DMs when I'm talking to you.
Yeah.
Like I try to not. It's just like I just can't help it because like I put myself through these situations thinking that I'll learn from it, but then the next person that comes into my life, like I'm here thinking like, oh, is he or she gonna hurt me, or are they gonna actually be like an actual friend to me?
Hmm.
That pretty much that was with you. Like when you first started following me.
What you? That's what you wondered.
Yeah,
I understand because your past experience will speak to you.
yeah, because like I didn't mean to like it because like you're a nice guy, but it's just like you know.
You were like, I don't know, essay, like that.
Yeah, like something like
No,
that.
I understand. I understand. I get it. Okay.
It's like yeah, and then with the Logan guy that I told you about, it's just like I kept wondering about him because like I've known the guy for 2 years and I told him about that thing that I told you.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, did I make the right decision? Or is it gonna keep being in my life? Like I just hope that nothing bad happens. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. My question for you is, who are you surrounded by? Like, what kind of people? What kind of? Who are the top 5 people in your life, and what are they like?
Tough.
The top 5 people that you interact with the most in your life right now. What are they like?
Um, let's see. Well, the top two are my mom and my dad. They they stopped fighting
Mm-hmm.
like a long time ago. And like I talk to them and it's just different now. Like with the stuff that just happened in like the last few years and all that and it's been kind of better now for them
Okay.
with me and like things have been like smooth sailing kind of just like talking it out.
No, that's fine. All right.
Okay.
Next 3.
Um next three
Yep.
my best friend Erica who went by Adrika back in like middle school whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to her sometimes and because like she's a mom now so I just try not get in the way and all of
You
that.
guys still cool?
And then yeah.
Okay.
And then I'd say number four is kind of my big sister,
Mm-hmm.
but like the conversations with her get like a little weird,
Mm-hmm.
but like that's usual.
Sometimes you need a little weird.
And then it well yeah, then there's me. And then number five, I think number five's you. Yeah.
What?
I don't know, cause like it's just like I talked to like a few males in my life that I actually tolerate and actually like.
You
And, like
tolerate?
you're one of the few that it's just that some of the ones in my past that have like come by me, they're just like they just try to flirt with me in a way that like embarrasses me, you know?
Mm.
And it just like it makes me look bad.
Wow.
And then like there's the ones that like I can't really like describe them. Like are they gonna hurt me or are they gonna actually be my friend?
Mm-hmm.
And that's you're in that category.
Oh,
Because
that
you're my
hurts.
friend.
Ow.
I'm
No,
sorry.
I understand. It's
I'm
fine. It's
sorry.
fine.
Like no, because you're actually my friend. Because like actually, I can actually like talk to you without like wanting to punch you in the face one day if I meet you in person.
Yeah, I dodge it with a quickness, but shoot. Well, okay. I wanted to ask you this next though. So
All right.
the 5 people in your life, do you know why I asked you that?
Yeah.
Because for anybody that doesn't know, the top 5 people that you interact with most in your life are ultimately what your attitude is going to be like, and is ultimately going to determine what your attitude is going to be like and what your behavior is going to be like. So you want to make sure that those 5 people are extremely important and extremely good influences on you. You understand? And also most importantly, this is probably the most important part of that. Those 5 people, each of them give you one really good reason to become a better person and to keep becoming better. For me, honestly, if it came down to like me deciding to keep going on with life, I would only need one good reason to stay around, and I would. And what I want you to leave here is with this. Don't, or this is easier said than done, but please try not to think about what someone might do to you, but instead
Okay.
focus more on what they are doing and then go from there. Because it's easier to it's easy to speculate on what they could be capable of, but it's a lot better to have someone show you who they are and believe them. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I kind of get what you mean.
So yeah, it's personally I just feel like the the less time you spend worrying about it, the easier. And like I say, it's not gonna happen overnight, but it'll definitely help. And I guarantee you'll feel a lot better. And the relationships you do have that are good and that are healthy, they're going to be a lot better. You know?
Yeah, I got you.
So first of all, I don't want you to worry about me hurting you, butthead, because I'm not. Okay? But secondly, when it comes to boys and stuff, know that, like, I mean, we're all gonna get hurt by people, you know, like that. It's kind of just part of life, you know. But
I know, but just like it just. Can I swear?
yeah, it fucking sucks, right?
It, yeah, it just fucking hurts.
I know.
Really, like really bad.
I know. But what's the alternative? Do you just decide, you know what, fuck this, I'm gonna be alone forever? Or do you decide, you know what, the good shit that I do have, it's worth suffering for? You know what I mean?
Well, that's like the correct answer because like I just hate being alone. Like I remember like back in elementary school, like I was just like sitting alone at lunch and stuff. It was pretty bad. And like I feel like I'm doing that to myself like now, but like in sort of like good way for myself in a way.
So would you rather be alone and happy or with people that you don't like?
Alone and happy, but like just like talking to people online like I am doing right now, and like talking to like the ones that are closest to me that I just mentioned before.
All right. Honestly, I feel like you're on the right track, Aaliyah. Like, I think you're good, to be real. Because like, sure, it's human to be scared of our past experiences, and it's one thing to have bad things happen and be scared of them, and a completely different thing to have bad things happen and just learn from them. You know? Like, I'm not scared of fire, but I know it will burn me, so I don't touch it with my hands, you know? Just understand that it is what it is, so to speak, and then move from there. You got it.
Thank you, sweetie.
You're welcome. Are you Gucci?
Yes, I'm Gucci.
All right, cool. Well, thank you for calling in.
Okay.
All right, I'll catch you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Man, no problem at
See you.
all. Deuces.
Bye.
Man, shout out to my girl Aaliyah, man. She's so nice. Y'all go follow her. Big time Aaliyah. She's in Discord too if you guys want to talk. By the way, if any of you guys are in Discord and you don't know, or if you don't know it, get to it. The Discord. Boom. I'll link it to you right here. Babushka. Wait. Oh, never mind. Foxy already got it. Who are my 5 people? That's tough. That's tough because I live a very solitary life. I live alone. So I'd have to say that you and Otia are like already in there. Nyx, if that counts. I don't even want to say my coworkers because I feel like that's easy, but like it's tough because lately I haven't really been talking to people like that. But aside from like family that I hit up, it's gonna be like Foxy, Otia, and like I don't know. I talked to Kat too. Like basically everybody here is like who I'm in the most contact with, to be real. And I dig it because y'all are all awesome people. And I couldn't ask for a better set of folks to have a community with. And that's that. We're going to go ahead and call in Apollo Cosmic. I'm going to make this the last caller of the night, and then I'm going to read what Valber Paradox said to us here. Apollo Cosmic, welcome to the show. It's your boy Ali. Why do we get depressed? Episode 8. What's good?
All right, round 2.
Yes, man. You ready?
Yeah, I've been waiting for this one.
All right, here we go. What you got?
So, again, getting depressed is kind of like a plethora of things.
Mm-hmm.
It could be for many reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things I kind of noticed, like from growing up, is that maybe you'll be depressed and you won't even recognize it. Like
Mm-hmm.
you'll have to go through like a bunch of trials just to understand that you're depressed. You know what I mean? Like for me, I guess I didn't recognize that I was depressed until like probably either like this year, because I noticed all the time I would like put myself down and like I would see other people's accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
It would make me feel like, I guess, not like it would make me feel worse in comparison because I didn't feel like I accomplished a lot myself. And I kind of wanted to change that. So like I took like a lot of actions, like, you know, I tried to put myself in the right mindset to like kind of dig myself out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is also where I kind of got like woke and I recognized where it's like a lot of people, because this was like my 12th grade experience. I kind of recognized like in 12th grade, like a lot of people didn't have the same like mindset as me, so they didn't always see like eye to eye. And I think that's kind of where like depression comes in,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like you're in a place where you're not surrounded by a lot of people who understand where you're coming from or want to see from where you're coming from. And that's kind of like why it happens. Like
It's like you're on
when
an
you
island.
have like, yeah,
Mhm.
when you have like a bunch of people like in like your Discord, right, where it's like everyone's been through something and everybody can sympathize you with some way or another and want to talk stuff out with you.
Mhm.
When you're like kind of like in spaces where people won't always have that kind of mindset, it's kind of like you're lonely. You feel like an outcast.
You're right. Sorry. Go on. I don't want to like cut you off. I'm listening.
It's fine. I don't know what else I want to like say. You got any questions for me?
Yeah, I actually do. I always got questions, man. My mom told me to never stop asking questions, and I kind of took her too seriously. So, my first one for you would be this, my guy. How do you what would you say is your current coping mechanism for depression? How do you deal with it? In what ways do you deal with it?
Well, I guess what ways I deal with depression is like I surround myself with friends, like good friends.
That's good.
Like
Healthy.
I talk to, yeah, like for example, it won't be just people in your Discord. That's a good place to go to. Like people in your Discord are like really nice to talk to. Like I talk with like Kat, talk with what is it, Kina? I think that's how you say his name.
Kana.
Talk with people like that. Yeah, Anu. Like I talk with those people and they understand where I come from. So it's like nice to have people to talk to like them.
Mm-hmm.
I also have like my close friends that I kind of like grew up with from like school and like middle school and stuff like that. Those are some of the people I talk to. I'm sorry. That's answered your question, right?
Yeah.
forget.
That's completely fine. The next thing I was gonna ask was when depression initially hits you, do you have the fight or flight response to it? Meaning, like, do you tend to sort of curl up in a ball and sort of just let it happen, or do you kind of go into attack mode? Are you a defense or attack mode type person when it comes to problems really being thrown at you like this?
I feel like the last time I got depressed, it was delayed. Like I was fine.
Mm-hmm.
Then the thing that triggered it just like happened the next day, and then I just like, well, life sucks. I feel like I'm more the type of person where it's like my initial response is if I'm aware of what I think is causing like me to feel that way,
Right.
then I'll try to like resolve the issue. Because sometimes it'll be like if it's with another person, for example, I'll try to talk it out with them. But when the other person isn't trying to like come to that same resolve, then it's kind of like you feel shitty basically. Like you just feel bad.
Of course.
And yeah.
Okay. So this is the thing that I always like. This is kind of how I try to express it, right? When it comes to the subject of depression and stuff like that, you know how I always say, like, you know, just try to do a little bit better than the day before, etc., right? It's like,
Yeah.
shit. It's like, what was I saying? Crap. Hold me. Oh, it's one of those things where, like somebody said in chat earlier, it will get better. And it honestly, like, dude, like, I know this sounds so cliche, but like, it really does get better. But how old are you?
19.
The one thing, man, I wish I was 19, man. The one thing that you got on your side is always going to be time. At least now. You know what I mean? Like, you being 19, this means that you have a lot of potential time, you know? And this could be time that you could spend learning how to convert whatever energy, good, bad, into productive energy. You could take bad energy, you can convert it into good energy if you learn the right way how. But it comes down to the individual, you know.
Yeah, gotta transmute that negative energy into positive energy. You know what I'm saying?
Full Metal Alchemist, that shit. Like, seriously, dude. But it's one of those pillars of life that I feel we should have learned at a very young age, but we kind of didn't, you know?
I think I said that in the chat where it was like, I feel like, because you made a point earlier about like how in the Bible people will talk about how they were like woke back then, like they were aware of stuff then. I feel like nowadays, because we have stuff like drugs, alcohol, and technology, I feel like people are more desensitized of like talking stuff out. They'll rather keep it in and use those things to help them feel relief rather than like looking at the actual issue. Because I feel like that.
I was just gonna say we can distract ourselves a lot easier. Way easier. Freaking Jonathan from 1692 didn't have a phone to go onto Twitter when he felt bad and tweet about his anger towards the world and make an angsty tweet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he had to find somebody.
Yep. Either that or go chop some wood or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to how we react to it. And it comes down to sort of what we do with that energy. Because, you know, all energy is potential energy, you know?
And everyone has potential in them.
Exactly. I'm telling you, dude, like, I will fight for that cause, bro. Like, that's a cause that I will fight for, yo. The fact that people have unlimited, untapped potential, man. Like, don't sleep on your own potential, man. You're 19. You got a ways to go. You got a lot.
You know what's kind of sad though?
What?
I honestly believe that potential, like everybody has potential in them. It's sad to see that like the people who do have potential not making like the smart decisions. So they're still like you just see them going on like a downward path, like instead of taking not the same path as you, but like, you know, being positive.
I'll tell you this.
It's really sad.
I think or I'm starting to gather, I feel like the biggest reason why is because you don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? Oh! Hold on. Valber just gave me a heart attack. Valber Paradox, you have ascended. Thank you so much, man. But I was just gonna say that people don't know what they don't know. And like, for example, I was not like this, like, as you know me now, like 4-5 years ago, because I didn't know, you know. And this, like, stuff like this show, like you talking about this, him talking about this, her talking about this is how we teach people, you know, by documenting our life. That's how we record progress through history, is by documentation, you know. So us telling our stories is educating people, whether we feel like failed in our story or not, it's still a lesson, you know?
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
Like a lesson. I don't know. I know the timer's up, but like,
Yeah,
I don't
hell
know if I
is.
touched on this before. Where yeah, I don't know if I touched on this earlier, where it was like awareness, because I think that plays a key factor in like depression too.
Mhm.
Because you'll everyone I feel like moves through life kind of systematically unless they like have a certain level of awareness.
Mhm.
So it's like when you're depressed, like you won't recognize it until you reach like a certain level, and then you start making changes to it. Otherwise, it's just like you're kind of going through like a cycle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a cycle that sort of repeats itself forever and ever until an outside force acts upon it. That's a law of motion. Let me stop. But yeah, man, I'm gonna read this story from Valber, and then I'm gonna cut things off here. But thank you for calling in, man. I appreciate you, for real, for real, for real, for real. I want to let everybody know, like, y'all seriously are the shit, and I appreciate every single one of y'all, for real. So thank you, man.
No problem.
But yeah, I'll holla at you. I'll see you around, man.
All right.
Thank you.
Later.
Doses, man.
Bye.
All right, guys. I'm gonna end it off here. This is the last story that we have here. Also, Gazelle, welcome. Or sorry, Giselle. Why do I say Gazelle? It's the first thing that comes to mind. Well, I'm going to read off what I have here from Valber Paradox. He wrote in Discord. Actually, I'll pull it up on this screen so I can see it. Part 1. This might seem graphic, but I'd like to share my personal experience that led to me being depressed early on in my life. When I was 5 years old, my parents would send me to the neighborhood daycare run by a married couple. The only name I remember was the name of the wife in the couple, Kasha. And for reasons that will be clarified as I tell this story. I would go to the daycare filled with kids, and we'd play games inside the house or play outside with the chickens they had. Every now and then, I would see Kasha take one of the kids upstairs for a while, then bring them down and put them onto the curtained bed by the stairs so they would sleep. No one was allowed to go upstairs without Kasha. One day, Kasha took me upstairs to a kitchen with the window blinds almost completely closed. She proceeded to unzip her pants, grab my hand, and used it to pleasure herself until climax. She was stronger than me, so whenever I resisted, she would slap me, tell me to be quiet, and go harder. When she was done, she would wash my hands, tidy herself up, and take me to the red curtained bed. She waited with me until I slept. When I woke up, she would tell me that it was just a dream. My parents picked me up, and when we were in the car, I told them what had happened. My parents called the cops, and they went after her. I never got any confirmation if they got her or not. My parents decided we needed to move shortly after. Part 2. What made me depressed was that a person who I had initially allocated trust to used me like an object to get what they desired. I didn't feel like my own person, but a thing. I didn't trust adults for a long time after I had completely different perspective from them from then on. I had trouble focusing in school, and one of my teachers yelled at me like how Kasha did. It sent my heart racing. I had a hard time relating to kids around me because they had an innocence I had already lost. I had a huge scare when one of my friends I made, being one of the less popular groups of kids, had a mother who looked like Kasha. My parents confirmed that it wasn't her. As my life went on, I grew to understand the pros and cons of being a tall black boy in a school full of mostly short white people. I was bullied for my weight, my height, my shyness, caused by my traumatic event, the works. My parents were having altercations daily. My mother was suffering from this and had issues with his rage and drug abuse, and they diagnosed me with ADD and put me on pills. Finally, I cut myself. I was ready to die, but I overcame the overwhelming amount of depression I had. I was only able to do this because I made friends who made my life worth living. I looked to religion and philosophy to help me strengthen my will to live. I wasn't too drawn to religion, but after scouring page after page about philosophy, I found Stoicism. Stoicism is many things, but the main teaching is that you can't control the world around you. You could only control how you react to it. When I was previously anxious, fearful, and frustrated, I consciously worked towards acknowledging how I feel and putting it to rest through meditation. I began to react to everything in a cool and collected manner. Things that would have caused me great stress affected me much less, and it felt amazing. Stoicism, meditation, and friendship helped me overcome the pain that was my depression. I also used music as a way to outwardly express my pain. It's one of the reasons I sing and played instruments. If you took the time to read all of that, then thank you. Dude, I did take the time to read all of that. And bro, I've talked to you a few times, and I would have never guessed that this kind of thing happened to you, man. Firstly, I want to say that I am sorry to hear that this happened, and I feel like that just doesn't quite cut it, because I'm trying to think of the kind of internal strength that it would require in order to overcome something like that. And the fact that you're here, and the fact that you are an extremely awesome person, the fact that you're so positive too. You overcame, bro. That's a lot. That's a lot. For a kid too, that's a lot, dude. And you really are a fucking conqueror for this, man. I'm so happy that you're a part of this community, because you found your way, and that's something that a lot of people struggle with. For you got to understand how hard stuff like that is to get over and to overcome and to conquer. It's hard as fuck, dude. People that deal with this kind of stuff sometimes deal with it for their entire lives, and it haunts them for their entire lives. But you did fantastic, man. Seriously. So thank you so much for sharing that story, bro. I feel like this is stuff that is extremely important to talk about, and you're absolutely right. Thank you for coming to the stream, Zylan. But yeah, that caught me off guard, I'm not gonna lie. But I'm glad that you shared, and I'm glad that I was able to share it with everybody else too, because I feel like I know that you're not alone with stuff like that. I know that there's other people that still deal with stuff like that. And honestly, if you were to ask me, I feel like your story has a lot of value to it, because there's people that need to hear that kind of thing, to know that they aren't alone. And I think that's where a lot of depression stems from, the fact that you feel that you are in this internal mental battle alone, whatever it may be. So my word to you, Valber, is to tell people that story. Talk to people about that story, because you never know who you might save with it. You see what I'm saying? So thank you, man. Thank you for sharing that. I give it up to you, bro. And that's honestly all I got. You guys all blew me away with your answers today. I didn't expect today's episode to be super upbeat, but I'm glad that it happened, because I feel like this kind of thing is what the show should be for, talking about things that matter, you know? So now I'm trying to think about, you know, where to take it from here. What's our next question after this, you know? So let's take a brief recess and take a vote for what question we will do on the next episode. All right, here we go, you guys. What are we gonna do? All right, it looks like chat has officially voted for what the next episode of Ali will be about. Starting next Tuesday, 8 p.m. PST, we are going to discuss the question of, what is true happiness? Episode 9. That's going to be next Tuesday, 8 p.m. PST. This is Ali the Prodigy signing out for the night. If you have an answer for today's question, please go ahead and type it into the comments below. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, all that good stuff. Your boy's gonna be out for the night. I gotta study up. And with that being said, everybody be blessed and everybody good night. See you later, and I will catch you on the next one.